Hmm. So Tesla popped up last night on earnings, and I actually listened to the conference call. Um, wasn't anything super exciting in the conference call, to be honest with you. Earnings were pretty good. Um, no new revelations. He mentioned a little bit of his battery pack investor day and said that the YouTubers basically figured it out. So I think it's a 1,000,000 mile battery pack. Um, he didn't say which YouTubers though, so that's kind of hard to figure out. So we popped up pretty big. We popped up to 650 last night, closing at 580. That's a pretty big pop. About a 12% pop. So we pulled back a little bit overnight to about an 8 or 9% pop. And I'm thinking about offloading some position at this stage of the game on an earnings pop. Market appears to be slightly trepidatious about moving higher. Morning, Rob. Yeah, so I'm a little mixed on what to do with Tesla at this stage of the game. So selling off here in the morning and popping yesterday on earnings. So we'll see how this goes. What is this? Oh, there's also something else going on that I need to talk about that's pretty fucked up. Security and Exchange SEC is trying to fuddle some things away so we can't invest in leveraged ETFs anymore, which really pisses me off. Trying to find the email. Oh, here it is. So here's the notice. You guys can go here to read more about this. There's a link in the very first paragraph. If you click on that, you can basically send an email to the SEC saying, no, don't do this and you suck. What they're trying to do is that they're trying to, well, they're trying to limit our ability to buy leveraged ETFs. Why would it matter? Because we couldn't buy TQQQ anymore. And I don't know what the deal is. Like there's not, yeah, I mean that they've continuously removed investment vehicles away from the average person. Oh, just so the fucking rich people get it all. It's just so the ultra rich people can have all the good investments and we're stuck with shit. That's all I can come up with. There's really nothing else than that. You got the day trading rule. You've got the accredited investor rule. I mean, it's horrible. All right, so Tesla way up here. Uh, big gap up. I'm thinking this could be a. I'm thinking this could be a sellable earnings gap. To be honest with you, and I think I may do just that actually. I'm gonna sell half right now and see how it goes throughout the day here. May have to buy back at some point, but that's okay. Hey, James. What are you going to color? Oh, okay. All right, so I sold part of my Tesla, half my Tesla up here. I think it's. I watched the earnings. They weren't that. They were okay. I don't think it's anything we didn't already know. Um, so yeah, I'm just taking some money off of the table at this stage of the game. They already dropped 25 points overnight, unfortunately. Um, so yeah, it wasn't anything special. I mean, Tesla's really an emotion stock for a lot of people, myself included. But putting my thinking cap on, I'm like, what's really going to drive this stock for the next 18 months? And it sounds like they're just going to work on battery development. They're going to work on scaling up and battery development. Um, both are good things to do, but after you have the Cybertruck, you got Model Y. It's already valuation wise pretty rich. I mean, if you're looking, I think Finviz is even delayed by 15 minutes. But if you look at valuation after this, we're definitely over 100 billion, which puts us well over 105 billion right now. That was as of yesterday. That wasn't even including this. Well, now 6% pop. Yeah, I think this is sellable, Justin. Personally, I think it's a sellable event. So I sold half my position. I'm gonna take a little bit of time on the other half and kind of see what happens. So Justin, I posted a link up in the chat. That is a link to an announcement. Basically, the SEC is trying to remove our ability to trade in leveraged ETFs unless we meet certain requirements. So please go to that link and fill it out and say, I do not support this rule change or something along those lines. You can read it for yourself and and decide. But yeah, I don't think it's a good rule. It would stop us from buying these leveraged ETFs like the TQQQ and the SQQQ and the all these leveraged ETFs, which I think give us an edge in the market when it appears that all of our edges are trying to slowly be evaporated by the powers that be. And I'm definitely not that type of a person generally, but in this situation, I'm like, why do you want to stop us from investing in leveraged ETFs? It's stupid. People lose money just as fast in other ways. Doesn't make any sense to me. So Square, looks like Square bouncing around today. Yesterday it sold off a little bit towards the end of the day, after hours. I don't know why. I looked for news. There really wasn't much. So maybe it's just an opportunity to buy some Square at lower prices. But Square doing okay. In kind of a choppy market tape, doing pretty good right here. Other than that, what's working today? Amba. Looks like Amba has some earnings. No earnings. Just up 6%. Oh, price target raise from 61 to 85. Okay. So an analyst. Basically, Morgan Stanley wants to sell shares, so they increased they had their analysts say that they want more of it. On the bullish side, there appears to be a cup and handle formed. Morning, Eli. Yeah, I actually sold half my Tesla this morning. So this is actually a flat base and umbrella right here. And also maybe even a long-term turnaround play. Here's another one. Rallied pretty hard before it got pretty choppy. Here's Ambarella with another long-term turnaround play line. In the middle of another long-term turnaround play line. Oddly enough, these are only about 6-7 months. This is a cup and handle, but it's shallow enough to be a flat base in Umbrella. I forget what they do. They used to be a leader back in the day, though. They're pretty low. Semiconductor equipment and materials, 2 billion market cap. So there's their huge run up. They had a massive run up. They were massive. Um, Kaboom, and then all the way back down here. So I don't know. I really kind of obviously lost track of this company, so I'm not sure what they do. Gross margin of 58% is pretty good. Operating margin 22%. How do you go from a 58% gross margin to a negative 22% operating margin? How screwed up do you got to be to do that? Something's messed up. I don't know. I'll put AMBA on our watch list, though, our actionable list. Oh, it's already on our actionable list. That was stupid. ServiceNow popping up, gapping up on earnings. How's Tesla doing? Wow, Tesla going back up. I may have to re-enter my position. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. Someone asked me yesterday in the Slack chat room. I'll read it to you guys. It says, hey, Randy, sorry to bother you about this. It's not crypto related, but I'm really losing a lot of sleep over Tesla, man. I wanted to buy a nut before the holidays, and I really like the company long term, but I feel I'm effing myself if I get it now. Do you have any advice for me? And I said, advice is to wait. You've got to wait. It is too extended to get in. It's definitely too extended to get in. So those of you that are FOMOing, I think you'll wait. I don't think you can buy here. Yeah, I don't think you buy here. But yeah, the FOMO, I can see the FOMO is huge in a lot of people because, you miss out on boats and it sucks. And the market's not, there's a few things moving, but it's not like a major bull market. And so a lot of people, I think, are feeling some pressure to find something that's performing, and Tesla is performing, one of the few. Only thing I'll say about it is Tesla's, one out of like 3,000 stocks, and there's always another one to buy. Why aren't you feeling FOMO from ServiceNow? D-Dog's doing pretty good. Yesterday stalled a little bit, but coming back pretty strong today. D-Dog could be a contender. I know you don't like MongoDB, Eli, but MongoDB broke out of a little base shape yesterday. Good volume. Ping appears to be kind of in a low area. Small undercut and rally on Ping. This is a smaller trade, but you got right there a small little small little thing. Bounces right back. I think Ping could be good going forward here. It's a little bit extended, but not quite through the moving averages. But you could get Ping from 25 to 28, which is 10%, maybe a little more than that. You see on the weekly chart broke out from the IPO base, and here's our test of the 50-day moving average or 10-week moving average. James, did you brush your teeth yet, dude? Yeah. Oh, good job. So there's some opportunity out there. Tesla's just one name. So don't go too FOMO. You got some other opportunities just because, everyone knows Tesla, likes Tesla. Ring. Non-stop since that little trend line break right there. Docu looks like it's trying to... Looks like trying to break a little base right here, actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Super flat base on DocuSign. Broke it yesterday. Volume wasn't breakout volume. And we'll see if we get enough today for breakout volume. But it's pretty good volume yesterday for DocuSign. Twilio, Salesforce. Market's coming back. We're positive now on the NASDAQ. Coop, Salesforce, Take-Two Interactive, which has a long-term turnaround on it, up here. You can see we stalled recently, and I'm not sure what's going to move us higher. We have earnings on 2/6. That's always hard to get involved when earnings are coming up, but have a little spike down here. Most of these have resulted in some pops. That one's a little less enticing, but our long-term turnaround prospects are very good on this one because you're sitting at about a year and a quarter. BEP has a base up here too. BEP has a base right here. If you remember, this does sustainable environmental installations for utilities globally. And so trying to bounce back off of the 50-day moving average right there. I think it's still within viable range of the 50-day, which is down there. It doesn't give you huge gains, but it's definitely a definitely nice one. And no options, oddly enough. So there's some possibilities out there still, other than Tesla. I mean, Tesla, you have to keep in mind too, as Tesla gets more expensive, its percentage gains are going to be getting smaller. Like you're going from 20 to 200, you're going from 500 to 1,000, which is only 100% versus 400%. So you get these really big dollar stocks, and they end up actually underperforming some other stocks. You kind of get sucked into, oh, it went from 20 to 600. Well, if you don't have it from 20, it doesn't matter. To be honest with you, it really doesn't. It's romantic to think so, but not really. Pay is pretty flat down here towards the $10 level. That may be a resistance point if that actually breaks at some point. Feeling a little icky. Maybe getting coronavirus over here. Melly, large cup and handle. So there's some opportunities out there. Transportation index pulling back. That's not very good. Match.com pulling back a little bit. EVR sitting above its trend line. You can see there on pretty much every time frame. So big story is Tesla. A couple other smaller stories. Square, I think, is a good story. Still working out pretty good. Definitely has been languishing. If someone's looking for value, they could be going towards a Square. If you're looking for value and growth, or value in the growth sector, you're going to be looking for Square. Starbucks pulling back after trying to break that trend line. Never did get really interested in positions on that one. Regeneron backing off from a very long-term trend line, which we hit. Domino's Pizza down 1.32 today. Still chopping around this area. Hasn't been very good for entries. Hasn't looked very good for a minute. Hold on a sec. Facebook. Yeah. We'll get there. It's down towards the bottom of my list, and I'm just hitting my down arrow on my list, so we'll get there. JD, actually not in a bad spot. Looks like about 4 days ago we had our ultimate low testing the 50-day moving average. It's been kind of loosely bouncing ever since. Nothing amazing. I don't think you have to jump in there yet, but doing okay. Oh, nice, Rob. They do a pretty good job of containing stuff. They've been contained ever since China, so I think you'll be okay. Unless you're not, in which case I'll miss you. Because we are all going to die from the coronavirus. Carvana, taking that trend line out, and living underneath it is not a healthy sign. LVGO, INMD, still choppy, gave up some gains from yesterday. Sherwin-Williams with a rare gap down on earnings. So probably not going to play in that. And then Facebook. So Facebook actually dropping all the way back down to this trend line. So this could be a trend line test on Facebook. We didn't go very low. One thing I noticed about Facebook yesterday is it dropped in one candle on my 5-minute chart and then never went anywhere. That almost reeks to me a little bit like they may want to buy it up. So if you want to take a kind of a higher risk, low risk entry trade, if you know what I mean, this could be an interesting situation. So we're playing with the 50-day. Hopefully we can hold the 50-day and then close above the 50-day. You can put your low in towards the end of the day. Or your stop in towards the low of the day. James, Mom's calling for you, bud. What you got going on there? Can I see? Hey. you show mommy? So, I mean, Facebook's okay. It's got a monopoly in its sector. It's not really going to go anywhere. It could continue basing for a while, but um, in terms of immediate trading profits, like I said, I think around the 50-day, this could be an entry opportunity. You can wait until it's a little more bullish and starts to try to curl up, just to make sure it doesn't drop. That's probably the wise thing to do, and then you can just hawk it after that. But it's coming back down to the 50-day and our trend line. We're kind of right in this range. I don't think that's too unhealthy. I mean, earnings were good. They just didn't like some of the forecasting stuff, from what I understand. I was just look at Tesla. Lots of FOMO going on here on Tesla. A lot of volume this morning. Holding up, bull flagging about the 640 level. We'll see how this does. Volume's drying off really quickly, so that could be good for a pop. So we stalled at 660 overnight. We'll see if that's going to be where we stall at today. I don't know. I'm not sure if that's the definition of a breakaway gap. I don't think so. Breakaway gap. Yeah, it's through support or resistance. There's no resistance up here. There's never been any price action up here, so there's no resistance up here. Exhaustion gap, which is, I don't know, I almost think this may be an exhaustion gap. And that is not what an exhaustion gap is. Not from my understanding. So let's see, we're down here at 429. Yeah, we're only about 50% above, a little over 50% above our 200. That could keep going. Yeah, what if the FOMO is going to take us higher? All right, ServiceNow up at 8% up as well. Well, Tesla's up 10. ServiceNow's up 8%. Nice gap up there. ServiceNow definitely a leader in its industry. Big parabolic curve coming up here. Broke its trend line a while back. AMBA. Doesn't look like it's up any, but it says it's up 6%. Yeah, I don't know, Rob. Tesla's an interesting one. I think if we go back to Amazon, I think Amazon would be a parallel to Tesla, especially in terms of its story, some of the PE ratios that you're seeing. So, I mean, if you're looking at Tesla when it started to get going, I mean, it obviously always has some crashes back. So we can look at the previous high here, right at about 100. It pretty much stalled out at about $100. There we go. So that's the price level. When you look at Tesla, or I'm sorry, when you look at Amazon when it started getting going, I mean, it had these beautiful runs, and then you have some nice pullbacks. Well, I'm not sure I'm going to see it on the weekly. Yeah, shorts are strong with Tesla. Yeah. See, these are weeks, though. It's hard to say. Yeah, you look at these, wonder, let me do this.
Bye, Daddy.
Bye, babe. Bye, boys.
Come on. Come on.
Just
Hurry.
have a great day.
We don't have time to mess around. No, it was already like that. It was already. We're okay. Well, we're gonna get moving.
Listen to your mom. Have a good day.
I was.
Good.
Go grab your backpack.
All right, so my other screen here. What I was thinking about is trying to see if there's a parallel between Amazon and Tesla. From a technical perspective, up 11% now. So you have to go back to the daily probably. The kid does not move to save his life. Ah. All right, so daily max available. Here, now we get apples to apples. So you got a couple big gap ups over there and a nice big extension on Amazon. It's hard to say, so there's a $100 line. It's hard to say exactly where Amazon and Tesla would be mirroring in their story in terms of earnings and stuff like that. So Amazon was pretty profitable. We don't have earnings going back previous to 2003. You look at our earnings per share numbers. You've got 45 cents, 30 cents, 85, 51, 91. I mean, they were doing okay. They were, just really hanging out. They had some negative numbers here. They never really got that profitable, maybe until about over there. It's only a few years ago. And then they start a really expansive run. It was a really different kind of a story with Amazon. This is the biggest base we've had in quite a while. There's a small base right there. Tesla had that, 2-3 years of choppy action. I mean, there's some choppy action for about a year, and then we went up, and then where does that move end? It ends in a gap right there that expands up from 360 to 400 before it finally pulls back a bunch. So I think we'll get there at some stage. Oh, here's a nice. So from 60 over here in 2003, we don't see 60 again until 2008. So there's a 5-year base for Amazon. And then that's actually followed up by another base. And this is all underneath that 100 range. So this may be akin to kind of what we're looking at. Let me switch these. There you go. Yeah. Anyway. All right, NASDAQ 0.04, Tesla nearly 11%. Getting up towards that 650 level, which is where we kind of stalled last night, 660. 650 where we kind of leveled out in that second bull flag. Yes, I still don't think it's buyable up here. I just think it's very, very extended from any kind of a semblance of a good entry point. It's just gone. Okta up 3%. This one could be one to jump on, though. Been talking about this one for a little bit. You got a cup and handle right here. Got a little bit of a flag. There's your cup. There's your handle / flag support at the 20-day line. And then trying to bounce up on through volumes. Doing okay this morning. It's not great, but it's pretty good. We've had some fairly solid volume numbers. We're up 310 over 1450 for average. Yesterday we got 2 average and sold off towards the end of the day. So we'll see what happens through the market. The market looking a little bit more trepidatious than we've seen in a while. Dropped down, and we've really didn't go anywhere yesterday, and then chopped around the past few days. So we'll see what happens here. We're right around this middle line. Good job, Justin. Oh, you sold half? I sold half this morning. I figure this 6 something may be a ceiling. Just an expansive gap up. I listened to the conference call last night from Tesla, and there wasn't anything we hadn't heard before. Nothing. And we just had such a massive run up. I'm like, what's going to keep this stock running? And I can't think of too much. It sounds like all they're doing, they're putting a ton of engineering pressure and time and money into improving their battery production capacity. He's like, we can't make any more cars until we have more battery capacity. He's like, it's a fool's errand. We could start making a bunch of Model Ys and then a bunch of semi-trucks, but if we can't support additional batteries for all of them, then we're reducing and taking batteries away from the Model 3, and then we're taking batteries away from the industrial side. So he says we got to improve battery capacity by some large number that I really wasn't paying that much attention to at that particular moment in time. But he's like, it's amazing what we have to do to get to that scale. He's like, you have no idea what we have ahead of us. So I don't know. I kind of think that he's not selling right now because there's nothing to sell. There's work ahead, and that could top Tesla out. And that's kind of what I think may be happening. Now, don't get me wrong. Once he's done, I think it's fantastic. I think it's fantastic. Do we go into another 2 years of chop? I don't know. It's possible. Tesla's got a history of that. We run up. Because keep in mind, don't get me wrong, Amazon and Tesla, they're not quite the same. There wasn't anything like Amazon at all. In other words, there wasn't any e-commerce shops that were nearly as full as Amazon was. And really the problem they had to solve was warehousing and distribution and scale of the website, scale of transporting goods. I don't know. I almost think that Tesla's problems are more difficult because people know how to scale distribution. People know how to scale technology in terms of websites. No one knows how to scale battery production that's never been done before. So I think there's a little bit of a difference there in why Tesla's story is taking so long. If you look at the stock chart, this stock's been around since 2010. This is a 10-year stock. I think Elon got involved in Tesla in 2003, if I'm not mistaken. So you're looking at a 17-year-old company. And anyway, a 17-year-old company that's had major hurdles, building brand new things from the ground up, building brand new technology to build the technology to build the technology. Anyway, the whole point is that I think this is such an expansive move up like this. I couldn't hear in the earnings report what really would sustain the short squeezing, definitely to Eli's point. You could get up there, but after that earnings call, they're going to be thinking what I'm thinking. I don't hear anything that's new. What are the Tesla bulls going to do now? So they may not sell. They may have deeper pockets if they're backed by big oil. They may not sell. I don't know. But anyway, I still love Tesla. I just think from a stock perspective, with this gap at this stage of the run in this price area, I'm not quite so sure. Not quite so sure that they have enough to push it higher. Earnings were good; they weren't that great, but they are going to be stacking cash. They apparently can't spend their cash in good enough ways, not yet at least. They're probably saving it up to build or to expand out the manufacturing of that better battery manufacturing technology. Um, is probably what they're going to be doing. So they're just going to be banking these earnings before the next push. Yeah, before the next push. So we'll see. I could be wrong, and maybe Tesla goes up to test 1,000. I mean, this thing is such a storied stock right now. Um, I can't take that out of the realm of possibility. Really, the way it's run from 250 to 600 is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And with pretty much no bases in between. You had a little consolidation for 4 weeks right there, but that's about it. You got the breakaway gap up here. So you're talking 15 weeks to go up 150%, which is pretty spectacular. Pretty spectacular. So yeah, you're not getting on the weekly here. What day is today? Thursday? I didn't see your comment about UPS or Square. Where was that, Rob? Where was it? Where was your comment? Oh, there we go. UPS unveiled a collaboration with Square. Could be good. Really? I don't know about that. Well, UPS. Well, good for Square. UPS is so big it ain't gonna matter. UPS and Square. Let's look it up. Integrates with Square. That could be good for Square stock, being the smaller of the two. Aggressive worker to attract smaller online merchants through its UPS Digital Access program, and on Wednesday it announced a collaboration with Square. Provides Square e-commerce customers with UPS shipping connectivity. One of the most. This collaboration is one of the increasing number of strategic alliances and agreements UPS has added to make industry-leading logistics even more broadly available, and as a part of new unveiled strategy called UPS Digital Access Program. Small and medium-sized businesses access the same services as the largest players. That's good. Square customers can receive attractive discounts up to 55% off all UPS daily rates. Damn. Including various wave surcharges. They're being hurt by something. The UPS Digital Access Program launched in October, and last week UPS announced plugins to make tools and services available within e-commerce. WooCommerce, there you go. Magneto, OpenCart, that's good. Expansion of its access point networks. Interesting. It's pretty big for Square because some merchants may switch to Square, but especially shipping merchants that do a lot of shipping. That's pretty big. Pretty bad for UPS, though. That's pretty bad for UPS, which is probably why you see UPS dropping like this morning. But good, probably better for Square because I don't think that they have any risk in the game for that one. So that could be part of this rally right here. We'll see if that gets other investors interested in Square. So ServiceNow came down a little bit, was up 8, now up 6. Amba Okta up 3. Procter & Gamble, but Square still down today a little bit. LK down? No, I'm not shorting anything right now. I'm too heavily invested to think about that. If I start cutting, if I start taking profits on things, then I may start thinking about shorting. But right now, I'm not really too interested in that at this stage of the game. So Tesla not giving up 11.2. We're holding up here without any progress downwards whatsoever. So we may see another expansion up. And then, like I said, we'll see what happens at 660. Let's see what else we could be missing today. I'm going to get out of here. It's almost 8:10. So like I said, the NASDAQ is just kind of hanging out up here. We're not dropping or rallying at this stage of the game, which I think is fine. I'm not mad at that. Looking for some undercut and rally opportunities maybe here. There's Facebook rallying off of the lows. We talked about that earlier. Facebook's a monopoly. It's not going anywhere. The big caps aren't going anywhere. Market's not bearish yet, so I think that's probably like I said, a buying opportunity with your stop at the low low of the day. Sherwin-Williams coming down on earnings. Not quite sure what to make of that. Doesn't happen very often. Maybe an undercut and rally here. I'm not quite sure. Looks like it ever so slightly. Ever so slightly. That's a harder one to get involved in right there, I think. PayPal, JD. That was PayPal again. Carvana. Still not looking very healthy, unfortunately. EVR breaking that long-term trend line. So far holding above it. We'll see what happens with that. If that can hold above it and find some support, that would be pretty good. We talked about AMD yesterday and the trend line. It did undercut it a little more, ended up closing higher. You can see we went lower, bounced lower again, and came back. So I think AMD a little bit risky down here because of, I don't know, because of that action yesterday. But we did hold and we held overnight down here. So could, like I said, could still be an opportunity maybe with your stop under the low of yesterday. Give it a little bit of space, but it's still doing okay with the channel. We're barely underneath it for short periods of time, and that could be good going forward. I've not had any luck doing CHK. They do a lot of natural gas. Don't dip your toe in this water. This is not an uptrend. 29 to 50 cents is not an uptrend, so just avoid that. Lower low, lower low. I see what you're saying with the double bottom, but it's just super risky. It's just super, super risky. If you see it, I don't know, if you see it, break in a bunch of moving averages, see it do something. Like here, you could have got interested, but then it would have stopped you out break even if you were going for a larger move. It just hasn't proven itself. It just made new low after new low. And, I wouldn't jump. I would wait for this thing to get bullish. At a very minimum, wait for one of these moving averages to get broken. You can see here we broke above this moving average, and then we rallied up a good 65%, which looks like nothing on the chart because it's down so bad. But, see, there's a moving average break that you maybe could have gotten involved in and done okay, and even from there up to there, 39%. But you take that profit off the table, and otherwise it would have been evaporated. Eliminated 90 mil of debt. Yeah, I don't know if that matters. I mean, this is such a bad downtrend. You need to see good action. You need to see real change from Chesapeake, not just elimination of debt. I mean, what does that do? The operations stay the same. The same people are at the helm. Like, the reason this has dropped so bad, and that's not even going back. You got 72 as a high down to 50 cents, The reason this is so bad is likely due to management, the general market that they're in, the fact that solar is arguably cheaper than natural gas from what I understand. I could be wrong about that, but you don't want to jump in the freight train in front of that unless you have a really good reason to really good reason. I wouldn't jump in front of that. 11.6 now for Tesla. Moving up little by little. Domino's Pizza. Looks like we made another new low. So not a very good move there for Domino's. Still keeping an eye on it though. AMD, Snap down here about 1%. I'll probably get rid of my option line. I already sold that. Undercutting the 10-day moving average. As the market's a little fuddy, isn't too bad. the PayPal. So 11.8 for Tesla. Rallying higher in slightly lower volume. You see a little distribution candle there on the 5-minute. Just a tiny guy. You got slightly elevated volume with a selling with some wicks at the top. But so far, no expensive move to the downside. So not bad for Tesla. Able to hold that's pretty good. Man, my throat's closing up. I may have corona. I've got coronavirus. All right, I got to get out of here. It's 8:12. All right, guys, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna eat some food before the power hour. Yeah, so markets sideways, which is fine. I'm not too mad at sideways. Um, we've got up extensively so far this year. It's been a pretty explosive January so far, and I'm not too mad at. So overall, right now we're up 3.5% for the year, which isn't too bad, especially for January. Up about 5% to the peak of the month. We'll see what happens. It'll be an interesting year. Got elections later on in the year, so try to make some profits before those elections come in. I think Okta is probably a pretty decent one. Longer term, I think Square. If the market can maintain, I think Square may have a good run. So two of the better ones looking right now. AYX is just doing great. Almost all the way back up to all-time highs is AYX. That's one I wish I would have held. Running some geeky calcs yesterday, found that my 401k underperformed the NASDAQ 100% from 2007 to 2019. Don't know how 401ks usually do, though. 68% gain on the 401k and 169 on the NASDAQ. So, okay, so that's actually a good question. So your 401k is from your work, right? That is a workplace retirement account where your employer actually owns the account. They hold it in trust essentially, and they usually pay the 401k company to actually do that. Yeah, that's pretty bad. I won't say that 401ks. They sell 401ks wrong, and I freaking hate it. Just go put it in an index fund. I don't care. I don't know what you have it in. You can do two things with it. Number one, you can withdraw the money into a standard IRA, which you control, Rob. You can do that without any penalty. You transfer it from one non-taxable account to another non-taxable account, and there's no issues with that. And then you can control your destiny if you want to do that. If you want to withdraw the money, if you want to keep the money in the 401k, then usually the best bet is if you have the Constellation Fund, you can invest in that. That's a pretty good low risk. That's a pretty good fund with low fees. Or you can put it in their index fund. They're going to have an index fund, and like I said, depending on what investment choices you have, almost all the choices pale in comparison to the index fund. So go do some more nerdy geek calculations, which I do those all the time, and look at what you're invested in. You can go to Morningstar.com. This is exactly what I don't do it anymore because I don't have any mutual funds, but go to Morningstar.com, and then you can look up Constellation Fund. Oh, that's weird. Okay. Mutual funds. You go to mutual funds here. What is this? Oh, come on. I just want to show you something. For crying out loud. Okay, so let's go to let's click on mid cap funds. We can't see anything anymore? Oh, come on. Oh, they used to at least show us something. Anyway, I'll look it up tomorrow. I gotta run. Otherwise, I'm not gonna be able to eat. We can look at it tomorrow. All right. Shouldn't be too bad, Eli. I mean, I believe it has to be direct transfer, but yeah, talk to the mutual fund company about it. Talk to someone about it. Call your broker if you want to do that. Talk to someone. Good advice, Eli. All right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow.